I never call you since, but I hope that you are well. I hope your market sell. Every day I dey pray for you. Make you Baba, God bless you. I never forget you, I gon' forget you. See my shoulder, make you rest up on me. You know I got you, now me be your friend indeed. My money don't show now, I don't keep some for you. You know go so far, cause anything I get now for me and you, yeah. How are you, my friend? How do you do, my friend? I know sometimes it be like say nobody send you. That's when I did for you, my friend. How are you, my friend? How do you do, my friend? I know sometimes it be like say nobody send you. That's when I did for you, my friend. Ọ̀rẹ́ mi àtàtà, you always stay in my mind. Pàdí mi gone. I cherish you with my life. Don't worry yourself, oh. Everything go day alright. And if anybody try you, you know it's gonna be on sight. See my shoulder, make you rest up on me. You know I got you, now me be your friend indeed. Oh, money don't show now, I don't keep some for you. You know go so far, cause anything I get now for me and you, yeah. How are you, my friend? See you, my brother. How do you do, my friend? See you, my sister. I know sometimes it be like say nobody send you. That's when I did for you, my friend. So long. How are you, my friend? How do you do, my friend? I know sometimes it be like say nobody send you. That's when I did for you, my friend. I know sometimes it be like
Hello, good morning, and welcome once again to the Law and Business Clinic on Aloore Radio. As usual, I am your business lawyer and your coach, Akatu Ochai, and it is always a pleasure and a privilege to be able to speak with you guys on the Law and Business Clinic. Today we'll be discussing a very, very important topic. So if you're a business owner who wants to scale your business and to succeed, then you should be here today. You should listen to this topic very closely because it's a very, very important topic. And the topic is none other than the key documents that every serious business owner should know about and have for their businesses. Once again, we are on Aloore Radio. So if you are joining us for the first time, you can check us out on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Aloore Radio. And we're also on YouTube on YouTube as Aloore Radio. So just search for Aloore Radio on YouTube. And then finally, our website is www.aloreradio.com. You can also download the Aloore Radio app on your Play Store. Now, we're talking about key documents that every business should have, key documents that every business owner should have for their businesses. Now, when I was thinking about this topic, I was ruminating over the topic and I was wondering to myself how I was going to deliver this topic, because I must admit that the subject of documents is a very boring topic to a lot of people. A lot of business owners get very bored when they start to hear about documents. And so I was wondering, how do I tackle this topic, this very important topic? How do I discuss it with you guys in such a way that it will be easy for you to understand? You see, for me, I happen to love the topic of documents and contracts and agreements. So maybe it's because I'm a lawyer, but for me, I find it fascinating. But like I said, I know not everybody does. And so I kept on wondering and thinking to myself how I was going to tackle this topic, how have this conversation with you guys without boring you half to death. And so I thought to myself that why not create a picture, for your audience to illustrate the way you see a business in relation to their documents and their agreements and so forth. And so I will share with you a bit of insight. Excuse me. I'll share with you my own way, the way I look at documents and agreements, in relation to businesses. So as long as you promise not to laugh. But when I see a business, when I see a business that is thriving, when I see a business that is doing very well, all the things in place, it reminds me of a steaming hot plate of jollof rice. I know it's very strange, but just give me some time and I'll explain. It reminds me of a very steaming hot plate of jollof rice. Why? Because the documents and the ingredients, they're like the documents and the agreements are like the ingredients and the seasoning that go into that jollof rice, right? You have different types of seasonings and different types of ingredients that go into making your jollof rice tasty and appetizing. In fact, even the aroma, by the time you're putting in all the right, you're dicing the carrots, you're putting the atarodo, you're putting the oil, even before that jollof rice is ready, it's already giving, right? That's the way I see a business with all the documents in place. Now let me explain. Now, just like there are different types of rice, right? And so you have, for instance, the local rice, or you have the basmati rice, you have the long grain rice. That's the same way, in my opinion, you have different types of businesses. But I'll ask you a question, and then before we really get into the topic. And that question is this: what do you think the first ingredients should be when you're creating what I'll call now entrepreneurial jollof rice, right? What do you think your first ingredient should be? What is the first document? So let me explain the question. What is the first document that you think that we should put inside this our business jollof rice, quote unquote? Now, if you said business registration documents, then you are absolutely correct, and give yourself a big round of applause. You see, the business registration documents, to me, they're like the rice itself. Okay? So if you remember, I said that I mentioned that we have different types of rice. We have basmati rice, we have long grain rice, we have local rice, and every type of rice, depending on its nature, has its best way of preparation, right? So the nature of the rice will determine how you prepare it. For some types of rice, you have to cook it for a longer period of time. For some types of rice, you cook it for a shorter period of time. For some types of just so on and so forth. I mean, I'm not an expert in the kitchen, but I'm sure you get the message. For different types of rice, there are different ways that you prepare that rice, right? It's the same thing as your business. The nature of your business would now determine the type of business that you register. So same way as you have basmati rice, you have local rice, you have long grain rice, and so on and so forth. It's the same way that you have your limited liability company. It's the same way that you have your business venture or business name or enterprise. It's the same way that you have a partnership. Okay, so the type of rice would now determine the way you prepare it. Okay, so the type of business you are doing would also determine the way you register that business. It will determine your business registration documents. So let's imagine, for instance, that you are starting a business. You're opening a place. Let's call it the Ibadan Spice Palace, right? So you're opening the Ibadan Spice Palace, and the Ibadan Spice Palace is a restaurant that is very famous for Of course, it's very famous for its amazing and mind-blowing jollof rice. Excuse me. So you have all the right ingredients. You have all the ingredients, right? To make that amazing jollof rice that your restaurant, Ibadan Spice Palace, is known for. But without your rice itself, you might as well be cooking or just making a pepper soup and not rice, not jollof rice. So the business registration documents are that rice that you will add. They are your main ingredients. They are your main ingredients, without which you don't have jollof rice. Okay, so of course, what this means is your first step in setting up your business is to register your business. And of course, by now most of you should know that if you want to register your business, what you do is visit the CAC, the Corporate Affairs Commission. So your business needs to be registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission. That's the first step to making your business stand out. That's the first step to making your business successful. If you can remember, a couple of episodes ago, we talked about investing, raising money for your businesses. And one of the ways of raising money that I pointed out in that conversation was through investors, either angel investors or grants givers, whatever, right? Now, you're setting up your business just right, with the right business registration and the right documents and structure in place. It's like setting a plate of jollof rice before those investors. So the more tasty it looks, the more appetizing that jollof rice is, the more the aroma comes out, the more people will want to eat that food. And that's the same way that when your business is well structured and well planned and well registered, and you have all the right documents and agreements in place, it becomes very admirable to investors. They want to even rush the business. They want to help you put in as much money as they can into your business because it appeals to them. Okay, so that's the first document. Once again, your business registration documents are the first document that go into creating the ideal and the successful business. Now let's look at another document that I think that every company should have, and that very important document is called a business plan. Now, most times when we hear the phrase business plan, we get intimidated. People have this image of some bulky document with lots of graphs and lots of charts and facts and figures and all of that. But the truth and the simplicity of a business plan is that a business plan is simply like a recipe card. It's like a recipe card, right? So remember we said we're talking about preparing, spicy, delicious jollof rice. So let's say I want to prepare this jollof rice and I don't know, I've never done it. I have never prepared this kind of amazing and spicy jollof rice. What do I do? Do I just throw any ingredients into the pot and hope it comes out right? Of course not. What I would do is I would probably go online. I would Google it. I'll go on YouTube, for instance, and I'll look up the recipe for making spicy, hot, delicious jollof rice. I'll look up the recipe and I will follow that recipe step by step, ingredient by ingredient, to make sure that my jollof rice comes out banging, right? So that's simply what your business plan is. Your business plan gives you the step by step process for growing your business, the step by step business for implementing your business goals. That is all the business plan really is. So I don't want us to be intimidated when we hear business plan any longer. Your business plan is simply a recipe for success. So if you have the right business plan, it's like having the right recipe. Of course, if you have the right recipe, and you follow that recipe, then what you're trying to prepare will come out perfect. It will come out delicious, right? So that's the second document, the business plan. Now we're going to look at another document. So by now you can see that we have arranged the rice. The rice is on the fire, right? We've looked at the ingredients that we need to put inside. Now we're going to start to put those ingredients in one by one because we have our recipe. So our recipe will tell us exactly what we need to do to make that rice come out banging. So of course the next ingredient would be what is referred to as a founder's agreement. Now when you go into if you've been privileged to go to one of these popular bookers, eateries in town, and you are privileged to see the preparation process of the food, you will see that different people are playing different roles. Different people have different parts. The person who is, so if you go to let's say an amala spot, one of the popular amala spots in Ibadan, you will see that one person is turning the amala, another person is preparing the efo, right? Somebody is pounding yam in one corner, and so on and so forth. That is how a business is. And the document that guides who does what in a business is called a founder's agreement. It's simply called a founder's agreement. And so a founder's agreement would simply say, I as a founder, these are my duties, these are my responsibilities. Founder B, so if you have three founders to this business, right? You have Bayo, you have Ayo, and you have Tayo. The founders agreement will give you what each and every one of them should do. Each and every person's responsibility to that business is set out clearly in your founders agreement. Okay, so like I said, you go to a restaurant and you see somebody pounding yam, somebody is turning their mala, another person is preparing the F4. That's what a founders agreement does. It gives you states clearly what each person is supposed to be doing to make that company, that business, come out on top, to make that business to succeed. Okay, so let's do a very brief recap. We've talked about three different types of documents. Now, first of all, we started, of course, with the business registration documents, and I said the business registration documents, that's your rice. Okay, so whether it's a limited liability company, whether it is an enterprise, whether it's a partnership, that is your rice. That is your main ingredient for your business. And then we went on to talk about also the business plan. And we said once you have your rice in place, you need a recipe, right, to prepare your rice. And so that's like your business plan. Your business plan is the recipe for your business. It gives you the steps that you need to take in order for your business to come out successful. In order, just as you follow the right recipe to prepare your rice, you follow your business plan to prepare your business. And then thirdly, we looked at the founders agreement. And we said the founders agreement, what it simply does is that it says it captures each founder's duties, responsibilities, and obligations to the business. So the person who is going to be, and we likened it to the people in the kitchen. So the person who is going to be preparing the F4, we know who it is. The person whose duty and whose job it is to be turning the amala is clear. The person who is going to be doing the pounded yam, we know who that person is. His responsibilities are clear as well. Okay, so we're going to jump on a very quick break, and then when we come back, we'll look at some other documents that you must have in order for your business to succeed. Do not forget, this is the Law and Business Clinic on Aloore Radio. We'll be back after a few minutes.
trendybeats.com.
Chaluko dike. Yeah, 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 yeah.
The emperor, the conqueror, the champion, the lion is here. Zobu, zobu, the emperor, the conqueror, the champion, the lion is here. Zobu, zobu,
Toya dike. Nanu dike. Toya dike. Nanu dike. Iye jamara dike ruenu. Ekwe chenjigo. Iye jamara dike ruenu. Ekwe dagarigo. Oshiri jibwa.
To the Law and Business Clinic on Aloore Radio. Just to remind you that we are streaming on Aloore Radio. So check out your YouTube, go to YouTube and simply look for Aloore Radio. You can also check us out on YouTube, you can also check us out on Facebook, my apologies, on www.facebook.com/Aloore Radio. And of course, you can check out our website, www.alooreradio.com. Now, before the break, we were talking about the key documents that every business owner, the key documents that every business must have in order to succeed. And so far, we have listed 3 documents. If you remember, or if you're just joining us, you're not here before, we said that having the right business, creating the right business, the successful business rather, is like preparing a delicious plate of jollof rice, right? And we said the same thing, the same way that you need to put in the right ingredients to get out delicious, spicy, hot jollof rice. You also need to put in the right documents in order for your business to succeed. You must have the right documents, the right agreements for your business to succeed. We have already mentioned, of course, the business registration documents. We have mentioned the business plan, and we have talked about as well the founders agreement as the first 3 ingredients that you need in order for your business to succeed. So now, remember we talked about Ibadan, your company that you're registering now, we'll call it your company that you're running, rather, we'll call it Ibadan Ibadan Spice Palace, I think is what we called it, Ibadan Spice Palace, right? So in the first part, we said you have a company called Ibadan Spice Palace, right? And so we're talking about what you need to put into place in order for Ibadan Spice Palace to succeed. So let's move on to the next document. So now Ibadan Spice Palace is up and running, right? And of course we said that Ibadan Spice Palace is known for its amazing jollof rice, and people are coming from all over the country, all over the state, and indeed all over the neighboring states as well to enjoy the spicy jollof rice that Ibadan Spice Palace is preparing. Now, you have attracted the attention of a few people who would want to collaborate with you to help your business to succeed. And so let's say, for instance, one of those people is a world-renowned chef. Let's say the person is a chef, right? And you want to leverage on this chef's popularity in order for your business to blow. So what do? You bring in this chef, you show the chef the process of how you go about making your jollof rice and why your jollof rice is so delicious. Now, of course, because the reason why your jollof rice is so delicious is because you have a let's call it a secret ingredient, right? And nobody knows what this secret ingredient is. But in the course of your conversations with this award-winning chef, you may have to disclose to this chef what that ingredient, what your secret ingredient is. It may be a particular sauce that your mom or your grandmom taught you how to make that is making your jollof rice to bang. It may be a specific spice that you add to your jollof rice that is making it to bang, right? But whatever it is, that is your secret. That is what we call your trade secret. Now, before you release your trade secret to this chef, you have to put one thing in place. And that thing is simply called a non-disclosure agreement, or an NDA for short. Okay? So look at your NDA like a cupboard with a key in your kitchen. And you are the only one who has the key to that cupboard, and you put your spice inside that cupboard. You only bring it out when you want to use it. You put your secret ingredient in that cupboard. You only bring it out when you want to use it, and then you return it, right? So your NDA is like that cupboard that keeps it safe, keeps your secret ingredient safe. And so it's simply in technical terms an agreement between yourself and whoever you are bringing in to say, listen, this is my secret ingredient, but before I tell you what it is, you must sign this non-disclosure agreement, right? And so the non-disclosure agreement stops that person from going out to either tell your competitors or anybody else what the secret ingredient is, what the secret to your success is. So you protect your trade secrets using a non-disclosure agreement. That is what a non-disclosure agreement does. Okay? So now let's move to the next document. And this is a very popular document that most entrepreneurs and most business owners know this document, but I can say that a majority of them do not care to use this document. Now, what is this document? It's called an employment agreement. Most employers, most entrepreneurs don't bother to have an employment agreement for their employees. They just hire and then they fire. And the funny thing is that not having an employment agreement in place can be very risky to the employer, to the business owner, right? So an employment agreement, in the terms that we've been talking now of your business, Ibadan, I keep forgetting the name of what we call that, the Ibadan Spice Palace. So we're talking about the Ibadan Spice Palace. Your employment agreement is like the uniforms that your staff are going to wear. The chef is wearing a different uniform from the security guard. The security guard is wearing a different uniform distinct from your waiters. Your waiters' uniform is not the same as your cleaners, and so on and so forth, right? So that is the way your employment agreement works. Your employment agreement will set out exactly what your employee is doing. If you're employing a chef, then the employment agreement will set out the duties and the responsibilities of your chef. If you're employing a security man, then also his employment agreement would state what exactly your expectations are of him, and so on and so forth. So it's a very, very common and a very simple agreement. Apart from stating the things that you expect your staff to do, expect your employees to do, your employment contract will also state clearly things like the salary of your employees. It will state the working hours. Okay, so if you're expecting them to resume at 8 a.m. and close by 5 p.m., it is going to be there in the employment contract. If they are going to have a break time in between, it's going to enter into your employment contract. So every single thing that relates to their employment with you will be contained in that employment contract. Okay, every single thing. And a very important thing that I should mention also, that every employment contract should include what is called a non-compete clause. So let me take a minute to describe what a non-compete clause is. You are running a business and you have employees coming and going, right? So a lot of times you might have someone who would come and start work with you and work for a few months, maybe even a year, and then leave. And so let's say, for instance, you have a restaurant, right? This person comes, works with you for a while, learns your processes, understands how you're doing what you're doing and why your business is succeeding, and then the person decides, you know what, I want to leave, I want to quit and go and start my own similar business. And so this person who has seen your trade secrets, who has seen your processes, who has understood how your company runs, may go and open up another business, another restaurant just next door to you, or on the same street. And so all of a sudden you find that you have a competitor. You are now in competition with your former employer. And so what a non-compete clause does is that it states in clear terms, or it prohibits rather, an employee from leaving your employment and then going up to set up a competing business within that area, okay, within a specific area. So if, for instance, your restaurant is located in Bodija, in let's say it's located along Aloore Avenue in Bodija, right? So your non-compete clause will simply state that your former employee cannot leave your employment and then go and open a similar restaurant, a similar business along Aloore Avenue in Bodija. Of course, the person can go to Ring Road and open a similar business. The person can go to Akbete and open a similar business. But as far as you are concerned, that Bodija axis, that Aloore Avenue axis is yours. And the person is not allowed to start his or her business, similar business on that. As long as it is similar business, the person cannot start it on that same, in that same geographical location, right? So it's always important for us to have what is called a non-compete clause in our employment agreements. Okay, now we're going to move on to yet another fascinating agreement. Now, one of the things that I have noticed is that most business owners have no idea that their business consists of. So let's say, for instance, you have your restaurant, right? You're running Ibadan Spice Palace. It's yours. Apart from the food, apart from the jollof rice that you are well known for, you also have what is called your intellectual property, which is non-tangible. The jollof rice, you can see it, you can taste it, you can smell it, but usually your intellectual properties are not that tangible. You may be able to see them, but you cannot smell or touch. You may be able to hear them, but you may not be able to see them, etc., etc. So things like your logos, for instance, is part of your intellectual property. Things like your recipes are part of your intellectual property, and so on and so forth. Now, it is very, very important for you as an employer, for you as a business owner, to have what we call an intellectual property and invention agreement. I'll say that again. An intellectual property and invention agreement. So we're not going to mistake this with we mentioned earlier, we talked about a non-disclosure agreement. This is not the same thing, okay? We also just now talked about having a non-compete clause. So there are similarities between an intellectual property and invention agreement and a non-compete clause, as well as a non-disclosure agreement. There are similarities, but it's not the same thing, okay? However, we spoke about your one of your staff who has worked with you, who has understood your processes, has seen your ingredients, have seen how you prepare your amazing, your tasty, and your spicy jollof rice. She has studied you very well, right? And then she now decides she wants to go and do her own, right? Now, what an intellectual property and invention agreement does is two things. One is that it protects your existing intellectual properties, right? So the way you prepare that jollof rice, the spices that you use, the way, how many minutes you are boiling the rice, the point in time you are adding oil, all those things are part of your intellectual property and they are protected. Now, in addition to this, a lot of times you find out that once you have started your business, your intellectual property grows and it evolves. So you may have started out with jollof rice, and then somewhere along the line, you now discover that you can also add concussion rice. Okay, you can also add white rice and stew. You can add rice and pepper soup rather. You can do all those things. Now, sometimes it is your employees that help you to make those discoveries. Okay, and so what an intellectual property and invention agreement simply does is that it says that even though while you were working with me, you helped me to discover new products and to develop new products, I am still the owner of those products and not you. Okay, and these kind of agreements, if you look at, especially in, say, tech companies, they are very important, especially if you're in the tech industry, right? But in any industry at all, they can apply. What the law says basically is that the creator, the originator of an idea is the owner of that idea. Okay? Now, there have been arguments that when I'm working for you, if I'm working for you and in the course of my using your computer, using your laptop, using your kitchen, using your pot, I had discovered something, right? The fact that I am the owner of that pot, I'm the owner of that kitchen, that thing automatically should be mine, right? But the law says no, it is the creator of that product, it is the originator of that idea that is the owner of the idea, unless there is an agreement to state that even though I was working for you when I came about this, it is not mine, it is yours. Okay, so that's basically what an intellectual property and invention agreement does. It basically gives you, the employer, ownership of any invention, any intellectual property that was developed by an employee during the course of his or her employment with you. So that is simply what that agreement does. We're going to look at maybe one more agreement, okay, before we have to call it a day. One more document, rather, before we have to call it a day. Now, the jollof rice is almost done. You've put in most of the ingredients already. And in order for your customers to be able to really enjoy that jollof rice, right? So you have served jollof rice, you have served it with a side dish and all of that. And in order for them to really enjoy that jollof rice, you have to give them certain instructions on how exactly they're going to eat that jollof rice. Okay? That is basically what a terms of service does. So the next document we're going to discuss is called a terms of service. So let's even imagine that your company, which we have called Ibadan Spice Palace, has this amazing product. People keep coming. Now you can't even contain the number of your shop. Your space is too little now to contain the crowd. So what do? You start to tell people that, you know what, don't bother coming. You can simply order this product online, right? You can order your jollof rice online. Now, you have to show there are certain things that will apply when they're ordering that jollof rice online. They have to follow those instructions in order for them to enjoy that jollof rice. So what does the terms of service do? It covers the responsibilities of each party. It will tell you what are the responsibilities of the customer. It will also tell you what are the responsibility of the company, right? So it will also tell you, for instance, what is the responsibility of the delivery service or the dispatch rider. Now, terms of service will also tell you, in case there is a disagreement between the parties here, how will those disagreements get resolved? Okay. Um, so that's basically what a terms of service does for you. It says this is the service that we have to offer, but we are offering this service on these terms. Okay, you are responsible. You, the person that is using the service, it is your responsibility, for instance, to give us the correct information. And so, for instance, if you want us to come and deliver this jollof rice in your house, you must give us the correct address. If you are staying in, if you are living in Bodija, but you send us an address in Iyagokun, then that's your fault, that's your responsibility, and that is your liability. You understand? It is also our now. We have to also make sure that we, as the people that are preparing the food and sending it to you, we must make sure that the food is delicious. We must make sure that it is hot. We must make sure that it is delivered within a certain period of time, and so on and so forth. So that is what a terms of service does for you. So what we have done now is that we have discussed 7 different types of documents. 7 different types of documents that you need as a business owner for your company to thrive. 7 different types. So 7 different ingredients that you need for your jollof rice to bang. So we're going to take a few minutes and we're going to go over them once more. We'll just run through them, list them once more, and then we will call it a day for today. So we started by saying that the first document that you need as a business owner is what is called your business registration documents. And we said that your business registration documents are simply those documents that tell what your business is about. So whether your business is a limited liability company, whether your business is a partnership, whether what you're running is an enterprise, your business registration documents will indicate what kind of business that you are running. Then we spoke about your business plan. And we said that your business plan is like a menu. We said when you are preparing your jollof rice and you use a menu to know how to prepare it, how long to boil the rice, when to put in the ingredients, and so on and so forth, that is exactly what your business plan does. It gives you guidelines. It gives you milestones that you must achieve as a business in order for your business to be considered as successful, in order for your business to succeed. Then we spoke about the founders agreement, and we said in simple terms what a founders agreement does is that it states the responsibilities of each of the founders, each of the partners in that business, what every person is quote unquote bringing to the table. The founders agreement will set it out in plain terms so that there is no confusion, okay, amongst the founders. And then we spoke also about a non-disclosure agreement, and we said the purpose of the non-disclosure agreement is to protect you, right, from people who you would be bringing into the business or partnering with in respect of your business, right? And we made an example. We gave an example of a chef, right, an award-winning chef that you want to come and collaborate with you in order to make your product more popular, right? And we said before that chef can come, he or she would have to sign a non-disclosure agreement, which basically says he or she cannot take what he has learned from you outside and give that information to a third party who may be your competitors or anybody whatsoever that could jeopardize your business. And then 5th, we talked about an employment agreement, right? And we said it is important for every entrepreneur, every employer to have in place what is called an employment contract or an employment agreement. And we said that what an employment agreement simply does is that it tells your employees what your expectations are of them, what time you expect them to resume, what their duties, what their responsibilities are, how much they are going to get paid, what time they're supposed to resume, what time they're supposed to close, and every other thing in between. So it gives both yourself as an employer as well as your employees clarity on what your expectations are from them, and also what their expectations should be from you. Okay. And then 6, we talked about the intellectual property and invention agreement. And we simply said that what that agreement does and what that document does is to tie down any inventions, any intellectual property that that evolves or that comes up in the course of work of any of your employees. And then we simply said that what that does is that it simply makes sure that you, the employer, becomes the owner of that intellectual property or that invention. And then finally, the seventh document we spoke about was your terms of service, right? And then we explained by saying that your terms of service is simply, as the name implies, the terms under which your services are being offered, okay? And we said that it also, like a couple of the other documents, your terms and service also states clearly what the responsibilities of each party are under in respect of that service. And so we gave an example of and we said in our example that if you have an online delivery platform and people are coming to order your product, the terms of service will clearly state what your expectations of them are as the person using that service, the manner in which they should use that service, okay, as well as your own duties and responsibilities to the users of that service. And so if you remember, we spoke about the delivery of the product. We spoke about the quality of the product that is getting delivered. We spoke about the address of delivery and so on and so forth. So each party has a role to play. Each party has to follow clearly the terms under those terms of service. And that brings us to the end of today's episode of the Law and Business Clinic on Aloore Radio. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for taking out the time to listen to me, and I really hope that you have been able to learn a few things. As usual, I say this, that is not only what you hear, but it's the implementation of what you hear on this channel that will help your businesses to succeed. Once again, this is Aloore Radio, and we're on YouTube at Aloore Radio. You can also check us out on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Aloore Radio. And you can check out our website, which is www.aloreradio.com. Thank you so much for sharing this time with me, and I look forward to another productive week, and I wish you all the same thing. Goodbye, and God bless you.
Vibes. But you knew that. Steady Poe. Let's go.
I like the way I'm feeling now. No confusion, regrets, but my blues I'm written now. Oh, I like the way I'm feeling now. But you got smart team with the stress me, but right now I'm chilling now.
Way out my feelings and nothing can stress me. The way I run the game, I'm feeling like referee. No, like Moses parting the Red Sea, like a chauffeur, me in the back of the Bentley. So I step out, all white, can't stain. What you want? Rosé, champagne? I got that. Big bag, back pain. Taking the piss, the only time I can't aim. So we toasted a good life, living every minute to the full, cause I could die. Pull up at the spot, open doors, and it's suicide. Chilling rent free, where the check please, couple hundred G's on a good night.
I like the way I'm feeling now. No confusion, regrets, but my blues I'm written now. I like the way I'm feeling now. But you got smart team with the stress me, but right now I'm chilling now. I like the way I'm feeling now. No confusion, regrets, but my blues I'm written now. No, I like the way I'm feeling now. But you got smart team with the stress me, but right now I'm chilling now.
Yeah. do is jaye. 220 on the highway. I'm about the energy. Baby, if it's good, send it my way. If it's bad, keep it private. All these haters so vexed, I'm the best alive. You don't want to test the guy. You been sleeping on yourselves, you test it fly. Throw myself a party, then act surprised. Be the highest in the room when the guests arrive, yeah. Ain't nobody realer. Touchdown, got a couple G's for the dealer. Gang signs out the window, my killer. Life getting sweeter, no use water, dilute my Ribena. So we toast to the good life. Every minute to the full, cause we could die. Pull up open doors and it's suicide. Yeah. 16 bad, whoop, and they all by the poolside.
I like the way I'm feeling now. No confuse or regrets, but my blues are written now. I like the way I'm feeling now. I'm a weak ass Martin with a stress me, but right now I'm chilling now. I like the way I'm feeling now. No confuse or regrets, but my blues are written now. I like the way I'm feeling now. I'm a weak ass Martin with a stress me, but right now I'm chilling now. Dead boys, enough toys, they make noise, enough dress, gas fail, MC boys, roll up, and the nice toys.
trendybeats.com.
Zabu zabu, enyim bare.
Toya dike, nenu dike.